Welcome to the session. Before we begin, please go to TAMUS AI, select the Tarleton portal, and log in with your Tarleton account. Welcome to AI Builder Essentials. Today, we'll focus on AI tools and usage at Tarleton State University. Use the AI vocabulary list handout as your safety net if any terms come up during the session. Today, you'll learn how to differentiate AI Builder from commercial AI tools in Microsoft Copilot. Configure AI Builder for your needs, use its power features, and select the right AI model for specific tasks. We'll go beyond basic chatbot functions to help you make AI Builder work for you. For digital resources and support, visit the link provided on this slide. Before we dive into generative AI, remember that AI is not new. You've been using it for years. Spell checkers, spam blockers, GPS navigation, Google search, and Netflix recommendations are all powered by AI. What's new is generative AI, which creates content. Generative AI creates new, original content, text, code, images, audio, and video. It acts as a well-read collaborator trained on vast amounts of content. Today, we're focusing mostly on text tasks, such as writing, summarizing, analyzing, drafting, and responding. You don't need to understand the technical details to use generative AI effectively. What matters is this. These systems predict the most likely next piece of language based on their training. They're generating language, not searching a database. AI can sound confident even when it's wrong. This is called a hallucination. Generative AI excels at analyzing qualitative content, brainstorming, drafting, editing, learning, structuring, summarizing, synthesizing, and transforming information. However, it's not a reliable source of truth, may have knowledge gaps, is not a calculator, and lacks judgment and real-world context. It cannot interact with other systems or manage projects. It's well suited for knowledge work, but always treat its output as a starting point, not a final answer. Let's map the major players in AI. Copilot is Microsoft's secure AI, integrated into Microsoft 365. ChatGPT is the most widely used generative AI. Gemini is Google's multimodal model. Claude excels at writing and coding. Grok, developed by xAI, has unique access to X data. Each tool has different strengths, but most can be used equally well for a large number of typical tasks. ChatGPT reached 1 million users in 5 days, compared to Facebook's 10 months and Netflix's 3.5 years. It hit 100 million users in 2 months, becoming the fastest-growing app of all time. Across Fortune 500 companies, most leaders say AI skills are required, and most companies are already using generative AI. Nearly $2 trillion have been invested in AI, with another $750 billion expected by 2026, which still isn't enough to meet AI demand. It is the largest infrastructure project in human history. AI Builder, the go-to AI chat system for Tarleton State, stands out by offering multiple AI models, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and Llama, in one place. It provides a generous usage limit. The vast majority of users won't reach their daily limit. It's free for all Tarleton faculty, staff, and students, and ensures equity of access. You can build custom AI assistants for recurring tasks and ground AI responses in your own documents. Before using any AI tool with institutional data, you need to understand data protection. Commercial AI tools do not provide data protection. Your inputs are used to train their models, risking violations when involving student, research, or operational data. AI Builder provides enterprise data protection. Your data is never shared with the provider and are compliant with FERPA, HIPAA, and GDPR. If your work involves sensitive data, use AI Builder, not a personal AI account. AI Builder is paid for and managed by the Texas A&M University system and is available to all system universities. We also have access to Microsoft Copilot, which is included with Tarleton's Microsoft Enterprise license. Copilot offers the same enterprise data protection as AI Builder, but its models are more limited. AI Builder is the best go-to AI tool for your work needs. Copilot is good when needing to generate images, videos, or when working inside a Microsoft Office app. Commercial AI tools should be kept to personal needs. Now let's walk through a live demonstration of AI Builder. We'll optimize your setup by choosing your default model, adding daily driver models to the sidebar, setting system instructions for better output, and using memories to teach the AI how you work. Advanced tools include folders for organization, knowledge collections, custom models, saved prompts, and export or import of chats. Follow along on your device as we configure each feature together.
I'm Paul Quinnell, an instructional technologist at Tarleton State University. In the presentation so far, we've covered what makes AI Builder different from commercial tools and how it compares with Microsoft Copilot. Now we're going to walk through AI Builder itself, so you can know how to set it up and where everything lives. First thing worth fixing is when you get AI Builder for the first time, is its default model. Out of the box, it sets up an older version of ChatGPT that isn't one of the current daily drivers I'm going to steer you guys to. You're going to get a much worse result using the default model. So we want to change that. So once you get into AI Builder, this is your model selector. And we're going to start with GPT 5.2. If you're watching this a little bit later, there might be newer versions. Whatever the newest version is of the model you want is almost always the right answer. There's almost never a reason to go with an older model. So we're going to change this to GPT 5.2. So now it's the latest version of ChatGPT's model available in AI Builder. And then we're going to click this set as default. We'll get a little confirmation window over here. And now 5.2 is the default. So if I go back in and start a new chat, it's always going to start back at the 5.2. While we're setting this up, I want to encourage all of you to add the 3 daily drivers to your sidebar. These are the 3 major frontier models. It's the mid to high end version of those models that are cost effective. And among these 3, they can handle about 80% of the tasks you're going to send at it. So the preference between which one tends to be a little bit more personal than technical. If you've got something you prefer and you know you prefer it, stick with that. But if you're kind of new, you may want to, I would suggest you sidebar these 3, swap between the models, give them all a try out and see if maybe you have a preference. So what we're going to do, we'll start with GPT 5.2. We click on this little icon here and we can tell it to keep it in the sidebar. And now we get a link over in the sidebar. The next one we're going to do this for is Gemini Pro. Again, always grab the latest version. And we put that in the sidebar. And then the third one is Claude Sonnet. And put that in the sidebar. So now we've got an easy shortcut to our 3 daily drivers. So if I do a new chat, because my default's GPT 5.2, that's still what that is. But if I click on Gemini, it starts a new chat, automatically set with Gemini, saves me some clicks and scrolling through the main menu. Okay, now we're going to get into personalization of AI Builder. The system prompt, which is located in your profile and in settings, right here, is where you're going to configure how AI Builder behaves across every conversation you have. Think of it as having a standing set of instructions that runs in the background before you type anything. What you're looking at here is what mine currently looks like. I'm setting up a role and establishes how I want responses to be formatted. It includes preferences that apply to everything. You don't have to build this from scratch. The digital resources page includes a template you can start from, and there's a step-by-step guide on how to get back to the steps and where to put in the template information. I would also encourage you to read through the template. It starts it off as a professional consultant and gives it that kind of voice and those instructions. Read through it. If you see something you disagree with or don't like, change it. This is your personal version and it should reflect that. As you use AI Builder, if you find it keeps doing things you don't like or it's not doing things you do want it to do, this is where you can come in and make those changes and adjustments to have it behave and output more the way you want to, so you don't have to keep asking it to do different versions. The other major part is memories. So if we click on personalization, you'll want to make sure memories is enabled, and then you'll click manage to get into the memories window. Memories work alongside the system prompt, where the system prompt sets standing preferences. Memories store specific things in AI Builder that it carries into relevant conversations. So the main memories I do and have templates for you are you, tools, and projects. You covers you, who you are, what you do at Tarleton, what your work entails, that type of information. All these templates are going to be kind of a fill in the blank. So there'll be bracketed sections and you'll fill in with that information. And again, you can make changes or additions or subtractions to these as you want to. The tools memory goes over what you use. Are you on a Mac or are you on a PC? What's your default browser? Do you use Canvas? Do you use a ticketing system? You give it that kind of information, and it gives the AI the context of what kind of systems you're working in when you're asking it for relevant assistance. The last tool is projects, and it's a good place to keep your active projects. Let it know what the projects are, what they entail, tasks, responsibilities, important dates, that type of thing. Faculty can also use this to put in your classes. Tell it what classes you're running this semester. Give it some context information. So when you come to it to ask for help with various classes, it already has that information built in there. Okay. Next little tip I want to show you guys is temporary chat. So if you're in any new chat, doesn't matter the model, you'll have this little icon here called temporary chat. If we click that, we get a temporary chat indicator up here. Temporary chats are conversations that aren't saved to your history. They're not saved to the storage. You use these when you're working out something that's maybe sensitive. Maybe you don't want it stored, either because you want a clean sidebar or you just don't want it to come up at any time in the future. It can also be done for quick tasks, again, if you want to avoid any kind of cluttering. The chat operates normally. You select your model, you do your prompts, do your responses, it listens to system instructions, all that stuff. But once you leave this window, if I go to a new chat or if I close the AI Builder window altogether, it disappears. It's in active memory, it's not stored on storage, and it is not recoverable by anyone. So keep that in mind if you're in an active chat. Get what you need out of it. If you need to save anything, copy paste, move it over before you close out and move on to something else. Okay. Next feature we're going to get into is called folders. Folders let you organize your conversation history by project, by class, by task type, however you want to organize. If you're running several ongoing projects or you want to keep course-related conversations together, folders are a good way to do that. They're worth setting up early before your history gets too long and before it gets a little harder to find something or when you're becoming more reliant on the search feature. So folders are available over here in the sidebar. You click the plus button here and you can create a new folder. And all you have to do is give it a name, and that's the minimum. You do have the option to give it a system prompt. This is similar to the earlier system prompt I showed you, but this set of instructions only applies to chats within the folder. So if I'm doing a folder on a project, I could put information about the project in here, and that information will be read by the AI whenever I do chats within the folder. Similarly, you can attach knowledge. This is documents or related files. You can use upload files, and they upload specifically to this folder and don't exist anywhere else. Or you can do a knowledge collection, which we'll go over in a bit, and have that pre-established. That's something you can use with multiple different tool sets, including folders, and you can select that and run that system. Anything in a folder will obey these system prompts and instructions if you want to do that, or you can just have a folder name and that's it and keep things organized. Anything you want to move into a folder, you just drag and drop from your sidebar and it drops up into the folder and it disappears from the chronological list of chats over here. Anything you want to remove from the folder, click the More button, and you can move it to another folder here, or I can just drag it out and put it back into the chats area, and it'll go back where it belongs, chronologically speaking, in the chats window when they're there. If I want a new conversation in that folder, I can click on the folder, and you see I get a new chat that comes up, and I can come in and change out the model, and I can do different models on different chats inside the same folder and run through that information. As you'll notice here, it gives me a history of chats related to this particular folder here. So good, useful, optional organizational feature. Now we're going to work with the features up here in Workspace. So click Workspace, and the first one that comes up is Models, or it's also called Custom Models. This is where you can build a specialist AI assistant configured for a specific and usually repeatable task. Models we use are general models in terms that they're kind of generalized in terms of their functionality. This tool set allows you to take a general model, give it more explicit instruction, give it potentially specific data, and turn the general model into a very specific model that's better and good at doing a specific task. It's one of the more powerful features in the program. It does have its own dedicated training session, which I offer, called Creating AI Agents, which focuses heavily on this setup and walks you through it from start to finish on getting an agent built and put together and tested. So if you want a full walkthrough on that, please reach out, let me know. Next item in here is knowledge. This is where our knowledge collections go. So you can start a new knowledge collection, give it a name, create it, and we'll get a new window here. Oh, need a description too. We'll just shortcut that. All right, and we get a new window, and it's blank. This is where we add the content. Up at this plus button, we can upload individual files. If you've already got your items organized in a folder on your computer, you can upload set for the whole computer. There are some technical restrictions with this system to be aware of. You cannot upload files that are individually over 25 megabytes. There's not a limit to total files, but individual files need to be limited to 25 megs or smaller. It also can't read images that have text on them. Where this tends to come up is if you had a physical document and you took a picture of it or used Microsoft Lens or something like that to turn it into an image or a PDF for reference, this system won't be able to read that. Both of those options can be fixed using Copilot. Let's say you have a PDF that's over 25 megabytes. You can put it into Copilot and ask it to split it up into 2 or 3 copies, each one staying under 25 megabytes. So it could take a 130 meg file, for example, and turn it into 2 15 megs. One has the first half, one has the second half. Both of those can then be uploaded here. Similarly, if you have a PDF or an image with text that the system can't read, you can feed that into Copilot. And let's say you have a PDF, you can ask it to turn it into a text scannable PDF, and it'll give you what looks like the exact same PDF back, except AI Builder will now suddenly accept it and will be able to read from it. The quality of what you upload matters a bit more than the quantity. You do want to think a little bit about what files you put in there for any particular projects instead of just throwing kind of everything at it. So just be mindful of that. The last item in here is called prompts. These are basically safe prompts. It's a shortcut for anything you tend to type out quite often, but it's not necessarily something that deserves like its own dedicated agent. So one I've got on here, and has actually been shared with all faculty and staff at the university, is called Clarify. So when you put a name it gives it a little slash command based on the name, and that's part of the shortcut feature you can do. And then you put in what the actual prompt is. In this case, it's ask clarifying questions to improve this response, then wait for my answers before proceeding. I like using this when I'm prompting something that's kind of new to me. I might not be giving the AI the right context or details or other information to get a good response. What this add-on to any prompt does, it goes, look at what I've told you, let me know what else would be useful to you, ask me that for that information. You can then provide that information, and then it will do the task, come up with the answer, and you almost always get a much better response using this type of workflow and taking that time. So one way to pull this up, I'm in a new chat, and let's go here. And I can just type slash, and any of my save prompts comes up. Here's the clarify one. I can also start typing clarify, and it'll narrow down the list. And I just click on it. Now, what's nice is it's an injection and not an execution. So you can do stuff that has fill in the blank or that gets needs additional material. And like I said, I add this at the end of other prompts. So I write out my prompt, and then I add this in, and then I can choose to execute what I'm ready to do. The last feature I want to show you guys is export and import, mostly for the export function. A specific use case I like to point out for faculty. If in your course you allow students to use AI for assignments, one, I would encourage you to have them use AI Builder because there's equity of access, there's privacy protections. In terms of the holistic class, it's going to be a better system than just ChatGPT or something else they may be used to doing on their personal account. After they've used it for the assignment, you can have them export their conversations out of here very easily. So they can pick any kind of conversation they've done that's related to the assignment. And over here at the More menu, they can select download. And then I would recommend them do a PDF. This will download a PDF that captures the entire conversation. You see what model was selected, you see what their prompts were, you see what the responses were. And then you can have them upload that PDF alongside the assignment or final product that you've asked for in Canvas. You don't have to necessarily go through all these, but they could be useful. You have a case where they were using AI, something seems to have gone awry in the assignment. You can refer back to see if something happened during the AI conversation. The other one, just so you're aware, is here, is this JSON feature. That is machine language, so it's not something for humans to read. But if you export as a JSON, send that to someone else at Tarleton, they can go into their settings, and they can go to data controls, and they can import that JSON. That gives them the entire conversation that you exported. It literally shows up in their conversation history. It shows up chronologically. So if it was a chat from 7 days ago, it'll show up in that time frame over here. They can go into the conversation, and similarly, they can see the model and the prompts and the responses, but they can then also continue the conversation. The continued conversation is only on their machine, and your original version is still your original version on your machine. If you're doing work that might be useful for the rest of your department, and it happened to all be built into this one conversation, and again, it's a one-time thing, it's not necessarily worth building a custom model or something for it. This would be a way to share that instead of having to walk them through all the prompts. So that's the major features and where they're located here on AI Builder. There is no substitute for doing when it comes to learning how to do AI. So I encourage everyone to get on here and start playing with it. There's really no risk. If you get bad output, you get bad output, and work through things. In the meantime, if you have any specific questions or concerns or need some help, you'll have my contact information at the end of the video here. Thank you for watching.
Before we close, here are digital resources and contact information. The resources page includes a presentation review, a guide for building custom instructions, core prompts, and the presenter's contact info. If you encounter issues during your first week using AI Builder, reach out for support. What you configured today is version 1.0. Improve your setup by using the tool and adjusting as needed. Thank you for watching. You're already ahead by getting started.